Welcome to Make With Me Monday. My name is Robyn Smith. I am one of the co-owners of Bath Fizz and Foam, along with Amanda Aaron. And today is Monday, which means it's time for us to make something. I'm very proud of myself for memorizing that whole thing. Okay? Because doing the intro has been it's been something I've been a little special about the past few weeks, so I don't know. Okay, so today I'm going to try out some new gloves, if I can find them. And also, today we're going to make bath salts, but not the kind that will make you eat your neighbor's face or anything like that. Which is why I typically call them salt soaps. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's fine. But there was like this whole incident. If you Google, it'll just pop up, okay? Anyway, okay, so today we're going to be making bath salts. I am going to be using the new Salt Soaks and Milk Baths ebook. Sorry, there you go. And we're gonna, this thing has so much about formulation. Like, I talk, so it's 22 pages long, and there is so much in here that is literally just about formulation so that you can create your own salt. So like anything you want to add in or put in, I have suggested percentages, and then I tell you how to break that down and how to create your bath salt. So you can do anything you want with these. They're completely, like, you can make fizzing, you can make foaming, you can make botanical ones, okay? You can make them uncolored, you can make them with color, you can make them with any types of salts you want, okay? So I guess there's a lot of freedom in this. I apologize. However, I also have pre-made formulas in case you don't want to follow, say you don't want to try to come up with it all on your own, because, I know. So I also have pre-made ones. So there's like basic ones, so it doesn't have any things. Anyway, you can look at it, okay? So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a foaming bath salt with natrasorb. So there's something in here that I called your base absorber, and I have two that I recommend, either dendritic salt or natrasorb. You have to use a lot less natrasorb than you have to use of dendritic salt. However, natrasorb is a lot more expensive. So kind of take that as you will. Anyway, I'm going to use natrasorb. I'm going to show you how to color it, how to add fragrance to it. We're going to add a carrier oil to it. We're going to add an emulsifier to it, because I'm also going to add mica and lakes to it. Like, what? We're going to be doing everything, okay? So let's get started. So I'm starting off with natrasorb, and the inky name for this? Yeah, the inky, I'm like, Ifra? Inky. The inky name for this is tapioca starch. But do not be deceived, Padawan. This is not just tapioca starch, okay? This is a modified tapioca starch that allows it to absorb a lot more. Dendritic salt is the same thing, even though the inky for it is just salt or whatever, sodium chloride or whatever. It actually, dendritic salt is really cool. It's pressed into these like molds to make it look like a star, so it has lots of little places for it to absorb, so that's why it's super absorptive. Anyway, it's not just regular old tapioca starch. That's my point. So I'm going to start off with natrasorb in here, and you can use more of it than I used, you can use less of it than I used. Just, do what feels right for you in your life today, okay? All right. And Now I'm gonna add, okay, so in here we have my fragrance oil, which is a blend of Basic Witch and pumpkin pecan waffles, because the Basic Witch is like cinnamony and it's a little bit too spicy to smell like pumpkin spice, you know. It's fine. You can use it in the water. I'm just saying, like, for my, anyway. And then the pumpkin pecan waffles just kind of add some sweetness to it, because I want this to be like kind of like pumpkin pie. So it has the fragrance oil. It also has, oh, I put it away. It has avocado oil. I don't know why. That's always going to be funny to me. It has avocado oil in it. You can use any oil you want. It has polysorbate 80 in it. And, sorry, I'm checking to see if there's, and that's it. Okay. And also, I don't see comments. I'm sure you guys are commenting. So let me go over here to Facebook on my phone. Okay, hold on. No. Okay, yeah, comments. There we go. Oh, look, so many comments. Tanya says good morning. Other Tanya says good afternoon. Dan says good afternoon. Nancy says hi, Amy waves. So, hi guys, and hello. And thank you for being here. Oh, shh, be quiet. Gloria says, please quit selling every ebook you have. I know. Trying to save money. But this is going to save you a lot of money. I don't know if you've ever tried to make bath salts. It is ridiculous. Like, it should be so easy and straightforward. You just put the salt, you put the color, you put the fragrance. That's it. But it's not like that. It's not hard, but it's also like not like that. And there's like so much bad information out there. I think the most common thing I see people suggest, if your salt isn't absorbing stuff, is to bake the salts. So put them on a pan into the oven at a really low temperature and bake them. And not to like rain on anybody's parade here, but that will possibly dry them, but it's not going to help the salt absorb the oil or the essential oil, the fragrance oil, whatever. So I don't know why in my mind it would have worked, because a long time ago when I very first tried to make bath salts, I definitely went with that and tried to bake them, and it did not work. But it might work for some of you, okay? I'm not saying it never works. I'm just saying it did not work for me. Okay. So I'm going to use mica, which is another good reason that I added the polysorbate 80 to this. And I do not understand why, but I've never seen a bath salt recipe that includes polysorbate 80. Like, I've never seen that, and I tried to make some without it. I turned my tub orange. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I used half a teaspoon of yellow 6 Lake and half a teaspoon of this atomic orange. And I have my oils inside of here, and I'm going to mix it up and just kind of keep mixing. And natrasorb is really light and fluffy, so you might spill it kind of like all over the place. But I honestly think it's better than dendritic salt, especially if you're on like a time frame, because this is going to take, you know, maybe 10 to 20 minutes to fully absorb all the oils and stuff. Depends on how much oils you put in and how much natrasorb you use. But it's going to take about 10, maybe 20 minutes. Could be longer. Dendritic salt, you need to at least let it sit overnight and then use it the next day. So, you know, it's cheaper. You have to use more of it, and it takes longer for it to be ready. So, you know, it's kind of give and take. Like, if you have that time and you're not in a rush or anything, then go that way. So, as I said, this needs to sit and kind of dry out. And I'll probably put it in a different container, because I want like something with a lower wall, because I want it to be able to really dry out and blah, 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 blah reasons, okay? So, in the meantime, I guess we're just gonna have to sit here and stare at each other. Or, I could be like Martha Stewart, baby, and I've already made some in advance. That's how I do. Let me see if there were other comments, because I'm sure there were. Can you replace tapioca starch for just starch? So yes, you can use just starch if you want to, but you're not replacing tapioca starch. You're replacing natrasorb, which I know, like, that's nitpicky, but it is important. So you can, as your base absorber, I talk about this in the ebook, but as your base absorber, you can just use a starch. So cornstarch, tapioca starch, arrowroot powder, blah, 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 okay? You can do that. They do not perform quite as well, but if it's something like you just have, let's say you're just using, what would you just be using? Let's say you're just using like the basic one and it just has oil. It doesn't have like, it just has essential oil or fragrance oil, right? And it doesn't have polysorbate 80 or an emulsifier, like, you know, doesn't have all that stuff in it. Then yeah, you could definitely, it'll work really well. But for the most part, if you're trying to do these like kind of more complicated salts, it will work. It just doesn't work quite as well. And I talk about the percentages, that like the percentage range. So I can't remember exactly, but I think natrasorb is like 2 to 10%. Dendritic salt is like 5 to, I don't know. Anyway, it's like each one incrementally gets more. So you would have to use a lot more of the other one, but that's fine. Yes, you could do that, but also test it. Test a small batch first. Okay, so then to this, since we're gonna make this a foaming or a bubbly bath salt, I have some SCI powder here, and this is a really gentle surfactant. It's usually called baby foam because it is so gentle. It's probably in products that you currently use every day. So, and if you don't want it to be bubbly, don't include that. Use something else. Okay, so I'm just stirring it in really gently because it does get airborne very easily, and I want to make sure to avoid that. One of the reasons that we add the color ahead of time is to make sure that it's blended in without any specks. If you've ever tried to make one of these and you add the color later, it's going to have specks in it. So I'm going to come in now. It's a lot lighter than it was earlier, right? So I'm going to come in and I'm going to squeeze those little natrasorb and SCI combo together, just to kind of make sure that it's like fully doing what it's got to do. Okay. Also helps prevent the SCI from getting too airborne. Okay. And I have tried every which way to add the color. Trust me when I say this is the way. I don't know why these glasses keep sliding off my face. Trust me when I say this is the way. Do you trust me? I'm telling you, this is the way, okay? Obviously, you can do it yourself every way you want to. I'm never going to say you can't, but okay. Okay, now it's time to add the salts. And on this, you can go wild. You can add any type of salt on the planet, like as much as you want or as little as you want, with the exception of Dead Sea salt. Okay? And the reason for that, I'm sorry, I'm not mad. I'm just trying to tell you. The reason for that is that Dead Sea salts have a higher percentage of magnesium chloride, and magnesium chloride draws moisture out of the air and then melts. It just melts. So I did a bunch of tests with Dead Sea salt and like different amounts you could add and what happens to them over time. It's particularly bad with the Well, this is coarse Dead Sea salt. So anyway, this is what happens. So they melt and they just kind of turn, either they create these blocks like this, or they turn into like just straight liquid. This is the same mix with just rock salt, and you can see it's not clumping up. Okay, this is the exact same mix with Epsom salt, because I have always been told that Epsom salt draws moisture, and it's what's ruining your bath bombs, it's what's ruining everything else. In my experience, this has been sitting out since 8/21, August 21st, September, October, I'm gonna guess of last year, because I didn't do this last month or whatever month we're in. Anyway, I didn't do this last month, so this is like from last year. So these have been sitting out for a year, and they've been sitting right next to my door, which is like a big barn door. So trust me, tons of moisture has come in and touched it, and it has stayed free flowing and very nice. So magnesium chloride, no. Dead Sea salt, yes, but okay. And I give recommendations on how much to use. So I'm going to use coarse Dead Sea salt and add that in. And then to that, I have a big amount of salt left, and I can split that out between all kinds of different salts. I can do European spa salt. I can just do, I guess, regular table salt, but you don't really want to do that because regular table salt doesn't have any minerals really left in it. It's been cleaned out. So that's what is good about these salts, is that they have all these minerals, and then you absorb them, maybe, I don't know, and then you become amazing, maybe, I don't know. So this was European spa salt, and this is Epsom salt. So I'm gonna put all those in there together, and then I'm gonna take my little whisk, and I'm just gonna kind of combine them. And if there's any clumps, I'll probably go through and break them up with my hands. So let me show y'all. Right? Okay, it's not mixed right there. But there's no speckles. Okay? There's no spots. There's none of that nonsense. Okay? And one of the reasons that I learned how to make bath salts was because the HSCG offers certification for basic soap making, advanced soap making, but also cosmetic making. And I wanted to have both, which I do now. But they have like very specific requirements for you have to send in 3 products. And one of the products you have to send in is a bath salt. And so this was like years and years ago. So I was like, how hard could that be? And then like, I guess 3 or 4 months later, I finally figured out how to do it. But it took so long. It took so long. I had to go, I was on all kinds of forums. I was on all kinds of Facebook groups. I tried all the terrible advices, like bake them, put them on a pan, let them dry for a few days. Like, oh God. I tried so many suggestions and none of them worked. So this is the result of many months in my baby days of being a like real cosmetic maker, and and a combination of my current knowledge about cosmetics. So this is not something new to me, although it is new to the group, but I do think it has extremely high value. You may not ever need to do this, right, because it just may not be your thing. You may do it your own way and think, you know, you've got it figured out, so you don't need it, which is also fine. I didn't have it figured out though. I needed so much help on these. Okay, let me check comments again really quick. And nope, wrong comment. Hold on. Yep, there's the comments. Okay. Oh, Dance is gonna try to make some gorgeous mountain pour soap. Ooh. And no, okay, I don't know Facebook. I don't know what it's doing. Okay, so here's the really fun part, because if you guys sometimes ask, you're like, will you do this thing? And I'm like, here's the deal. Unless it's like pretty, you know, unless my bath salts can look like this, or be like layered with colors, because that would be really fun. I'm not, it's hard for me to want to do things. So especially things in bottles, they're like hard for me to want to do. So I'm going to show you how I'm making this cute for me. So I have these clear, they're like transparent stickers that I got from Online Labels. And I use these for the lids for my lip soap base and stuff. But I thought, what if I made a little pumpkin face on it and then cut it in half? And you could get like one that's actually a circle. This is just what I happen to have on hand. And then I'm going to put it right here on the jars. Okay, it'll look better if I just didn't do it that way. Okay, but now when I fill it up and it's orange, it's gonna look like a little jack-o'-lantern. Maybe not perfect. You could use clear, perfectly clear labels. These are translucent. But anyway, it's just an idea, okay? The other thing you can do with these little jars, because they're so cute, I got them on Amazon. I will leave a link. Don't worry. The other thing that you could do with these jars is, like, especially if, you know, you don't do Halloween, it's not your thing. You could put, you know the way jam makers and pickle people, they put like a piece of cloth and then they tie it with like hemp or whatever, and then it looks really cute. You could do that for this. That would be cute, right? So normally you would want to leave your bath salt out for, even though we left it out, we let it dry and everything, I like to leave it out for another 24 hours just to let it fully dry. I'll kind of come back every now and then and give it a stir, just to make sure it doesn't turn into a solid lump inside of here. And then I would put them in the jars, but that's not fun for you guys. So let me put a couple in the jars so you can see what our little pumpkin would look like. And then after the live, I'll probably empty them out, let them fully dry out, and then put them back in. So do I have a scoop? That's a good question. Oh, also I bought these little spoons like forever ago. So how cute would this be? You have this, and then you have it like tied onto here, so you have a little scoop that goes with it. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, hold on. Let me get an actual scoop. And gloves. And one thing you will probably want to do is, after you package these, you'll tap them down. You might need to add more product to it, just so that because there's this thing, like, it can say 4 ounces and have exactly 4 ounces, but if it's like filled to there, customers get very upset. Like, they want the jar, the bottle full. So to make my life easier, I'm going to use a little canning jar funnel, and let's add some salt. Okay, no, go back. All right, hold on. Sorry, trying to go back to comments. Britmo says, another question, the proportion used of polysorbate 80 is the same used with the oil. So the reason for that is that you usually want to use polysorbate 80 at half the amount of oil that's in your recipe. So this one, you're right, it has the same amount as the carrier oil, but you also have to consider that the fragrance oil also needs to be dispersed, and then we also have some colorant in here, and so it's really just like I stained my bathtub orange. So I'm just trying to make sure nobody else stains their bathtub orange. But if you want to play with those percentages, you certainly can, because as I said, there's a bunch of like suggested usage amounts, you know. It's cute. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's still pretty cute in my opinion. I only printed 2 stickers because I didn't know how, if they would be cute or not, and I wanted to make a couple different types of faces for them, so we shall see. Okay, and that's the last comment that I see on there. So I'm going to pour these in there, and maybe I should leave one in the jar, because I said I'm going to pour them back out when we're done, but maybe I should leave one in the jar so that then I can show you guys afterwards like what would happen if you left it in the jar. And you can break it back up, so it's not like that big of a deal, but it is a deal for the cosmetic certification. It needs to be free flowing. It needs to be free flowing. That's a little bit clumpy, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not dry yet. Okay? And then especially if I leave it in here overnight and it's like, it turns into more of a jar shape inside there. Okay? But you could pour them out and break them up, so it's not the end of the world, but it is a thing that happens. So, and if you're interested in HSCG certification, I'll leave a link to that. But what I was really going to talk to y'all today about is how much of an oh, look, I'm a good salesperson because I'm going to talk about sales. We're having a big boot camp. That's what I'm trying to say. We're having a big boot camp, and I am going to talk about sales in that boot camp. But one of the things for me is I cannot sell something that I am not genuinely in love with. And there are people who are natural born salesmen. They could sell anything to anybody, and that's not me. I cannot sell something unless I truly believe that it is a product that will make your life easier, that will make things better for you. And so I was about to be like, this is an investment in your future, but then that felt MLM-y. So I'm like backing off from that, but it is though. So we're doing this business boot camp, and we're going to talk about how you can do this kind of planning and stuff like that. So I definitely wanted to talk about the business boot camp, even though I didn't really very much. But it's going to be a 3-day. You can have 2 sessions per day. You're going to learn from me, from Amanda, and then from Stacia, who is an amazing. I wish I could clearly convey to you how amazing the stuff that she's bringing is. And we're going to talk about everything from balancing your books, planning. How do you plan? What do you need to take when you're going to a market? Do you need to go to a market? Are you going to do online sales? If you do that, then like how do you attract customers? And more. Like so much more. It's going to be an insane boot camp. There's going to be so much information thrown at you. Like, we were like, maybe it's too much, but we're so anyway, right now till tomorrow you can get it on sale for $99, so that's a good idea. If you can't get it now, it's okay. We're going to be selling it all the way through the end of September, which is when the boot camp is. And this, why do they trust me to do these things? What else? If you can't watch it live, if you can't join us live on the live stream, you can watch the replays. You can watch the replays whenever you want. Anybody can do that. So if you can't buy the boot camp this time, but you want to buy it afterwards because that's when you got the money for it, do it. You can watch the replays. You're still going to get all the same assets and the same value and everything like that. So We have a bunch of people signed up already, and the more people, the more fun it is, because the thing about, like, you don't get this in the replays, unfortunately, and like I wish that there was a way for us to like do this. We'll sometimes we'll provide the script for it, but like there's always a running commentary on the side from like the comments and stuff. And number one, it's like so like heartwarming when you see like people sharing like, oh, this is where I get my stuff. But also just like the number of jokes and stuff that happen in there is insane. So it's really, really fun to kind of be part of that and just kind of be joking with other makers and stuff. So anyway, get the boot camp, falls on sale. Get some bath salts. Make them, make them, make them. Okay. If you're in Patreon, come to Patreon at 2 o'clock. We're going to do milk baths. So bath salts and milk baths are the same ebook. So at 2 o'clock, we're going to do milk baths for the after party. That's it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. As always, happy making, you, my little oopie.